G'day and welcome to A Down Under Yarn. This is episode number 21. I am your host Fiona, also known as Fiffikins almost everywhere, so look me up, say g'day. Today is Sunday the 19th of May and this is coming to you, from Cairns in tropical North Queensland. There's a bit of a breeze out today. It's a bit overcast. Looking up at my thermometer, it shows it's about bit over in the almost 80, about 25. So it's quite pleasant, and we're sitting out here on my deck yet again. I'd like to welcome new viewers, those checking me out for the first time, and also those coming back again, which is lovely to see you. Make sure you check out our Ravelry group, which is A Down Under Yarn. Join up, say g'day. I think we've got 150 odd members there, a bit more than that at the moment. Not odd. I'm not saying you're odd. I'm just sorry. Anyway, week that was. Firstly, I'd like to confirm I'm not a knit girl. Just for those people who get confused, I'm also not Leslie, and I'm not Kiki from Yarn vs Zombies. We've had lots of fun this week on Twitter. Last week, I won a prize on the Knit Girls. Won a pattern, which is very good. I have chosen a pattern that requires steeking, which is a bit scary. So it won't happen overnight, but it will happen. I'm not sure when. That's possibly not this year, possibly next year. Anyway, that aside, poor Laura drew the name, and then she goes, "Oh, that's the Yarn Fifi. She's the Yarn vs Zombies. She does Yarn vs Zombies." Leslie's going, "Oh, I don't know. She's got a podcast," and she goes, "Oh, she does too." And she mentioned the podcast, which was lovely. And then people started messaging me and saying, "Are you Yarn vs Zombies?" And I'm saying, "No, that's the awesome Kiki." So, hey Kiki, hey Laura, hey Leslie. I think we know who we are, and it's just great. Laura said, you just have those brain farts, and I know exactly what she means. So, I get confused with yarn names and pattern names and everything, so it's all good. There's nothing to worry about. It's all really fine. This week, I recorded on Monday. Middle says to me last weekend, "Better make sure your passport's all in order." And I thought, why wouldn't it be in order? Because the government sends you a letter when your passport's about to expire and says, "Would you like to go through our renewal process, whereby you don't need to fill in the forms and get them witnessed and everything. You can just bring in your old passport and fill in the form with photos and pay your money." And I said, "Oh, look, I haven't received anything." And I get it, and my passport expires in November. Now, we travel 2 weeks today. That's 5.5 months till when my passport expires. Whenever it was going to be less than 6 months. And I read I Googled lots of things, and I saw that South Africa only has a 3-month limit. And I thought, look, that should be okay, until it was pointed out to me that Australia has the 6-month limit. You can't leave the country unless you've got 6 months left on your passport. And I didn't have that. So I'm glad I did it last weekend and not this weekend, or next weekend, which would have been even worse. I found that out Monday afternoon. Mimmel was working Monday evening, so when he finished I rang him and I said, "We've got a slight problem." I said, "My passport doesn't have enough length on it." And he kind of went, I said, "Look, they say on the passport's website that it takes 10 days, 10-day turnaround from when they receive the paperwork. Now, we're in a regional area, so it takes 2 days to get the paperwork down there." And I thought, look, even if it's 10 days, and if I get that down there, it'll be pushing it, 10 working days. And I thought, ooh. So then I discovered that there is a priority fee you can pay, and I went in on Tuesday, had my passport photos taken. They look horrible. I asked for the most horrible ones they could take, and they delivered. I put them up on Instagram, and one of my good friends who I've known for a very long time and goes, "Oh my gosh, it's Fran," which is my mum. And I'm like, oh no, I'm turning into my mother. So I should get my passport. I got an email on Thursday saying it had all been printed. So they received it Thursday. They actually printed it Thursday. I hope they put it in the post on Friday, which means I'll get it tomorrow or Tuesday. But it's still not what I was expecting. I did get confused about when it was expiring because I think partially when my divorce came through, I reverted to my maiden name, and I got a new passport then, and that was done for free because of a name change. And I'm thinking, look, it's only been a few years, and then I'm trying to work out when the kids had theirs done, because I knew I had one done when Jasper got his first passport. And I'm thinking, that was when we were in Cairns. And then I'm thinking, So I'm just lucky I checked. A friend of mine on Facebook did say that her sister discovered the day before they were travelling to New Zealand that one of her children's passports was out of date, and went crying at the counter and got it in 2 hours. So, look, it is what it is. It's over now. It was a stressful couple of days trying to get that done, but it is done. So that is good. What else? Oh, yes, I have been helping a friend out this week. She's setting up a small business doing tutoring, or arranging tutors, matching up tutors with families that need tutoring, kids and even teenagers and uni students who are after some extra assistance. And I've been helping her out just with a bit of marketing, which has been a lot of fun. And it's not a formal arrangement or anything, and I'm getting paid in curry, which is even better. Because it's really yummy, and yeah, lots of stuff. So that's really good. Wednesday I had lots of meetings in town with regards to the Cert 4 I've been doing, and I thought, I'm not going to pay for 5 hours parking. It's $1.20 an hour on the street, but even still I thought, I'll take the bike, and it was beautiful weather. So I took the bike in, and that was all good, and then had my meetings, met up with Mimel for lunch, which was very nice. Coming home up the road, and it's a 3-lane road, 3 lanes things, the main road out of town to where I live. I'm in the centre lane, and I'm thinking, something feels really weird on the bike. And then I thought, I must be riding in this big crack in the road. I thought, I'll move over. And then I'm thinking, nah, that's not right. I pull up at the traffic lights, and the car next to me goes, oh, you better check your tyre. And I went, oh, shit, sorry. So I pulled over, and I was able to get over after the lights. And I thought, I looked at it and I thought, yeah, it's flat. So I tried to get the bike up on the centre stand. Now, I have a BMW 1150 GS, which is a heavy bike. And without the rear wheel, getting it up on the centre stand was really tough. Fortunately, a young backpacker and his partner came along, and he was able to help me haul it up. And he wasn't a very big guy. He would have been, early 20s, and both of us were trying to lift this bike up. We both eventually got it up. And he says, this is at home. He was European, and he said, I've got an 800 at home. And he said, it's a lovely bike. I miss my bike. And we had a good chat about bikes. And then we're going around and we're trying to find the hole. And then so I've got a puncture kit under my seat. On a bike, you don't carry a spare tyre. So I've got a puncture kit, and you can plug the hole, and then you fill it with a gas. Yeah, carbon dioxide, I think, something like that. Whatever it is, it's a gas you fill it with. So we found what we thought was the hole, and I got my kit out, and I'm reading the instructions, and he's trying to read the instructions, and we're going, okay. And then we go, no, that's not where it's coming from. We're squeezing the tyre, and he's squeezing the tyre, and we're both lying down on the ground by this stage. And I thought, so squeezing the tyre, and he says, no, that's not where it's coming from. And then we discover it was actually the valve. The valve had popped. So he says to his girlfriend, hey, can you just go into that shop there, see if they've got any tape? So she comes out with some masking tape, which was great. So we were able to tape up the valve, fill it with a canister, and then I knew that about 2 blocks away was a motorcycle shop where I'd actually purchased the bike from secondhand, and they should be able to help. So I get up there and literally limped up there, because there was a bit of air in the tyre by this stage. That was okay, and I thought, if I get here, everything will be fine. I knew I had to drive slowly so that I didn't ruin the rim, all these things. So I thought, that's okay. So I get there, and the service manager comes out to have a look, and he goes, oh, no, he says, you need a new tyre. I say, okay. And then he says, oh, you could have parked the bike in, you could have done a rear park. So I did a forward park. And I said, look, I could have, but I've just limped up here. I'm really sorry. goes, oh, and all these things that, and I'm thinking, And he goes, no, I reckon you need a new tyre. Let's come in and have a look. He says, oh, no, I've only got this one. And I said, oh, that looks like an off-road tyre. The GS bikes for BMW are the ones that Charlie and Ewan ride around the world, which are beautiful. And they can be ridden off-road, but they're also road bikes. And I said, look, I do most of my riding on the road. I don't need an off-road tyre. He said, no, it's not an off-road tyre. See, it's got a bit of curve here. You can ride on the roads. I said, yes, but I know enough about tyres to know that that is predominantly an off-road tyre, and I do not need that. Then he told me it was going to cost $350. And I said, look, okay, look, oh, there might be another one I can get in. I said, look, I don't need the bike. I've got a car. It's not my main mode of transport. I'm not looking on picking it up then until next week. Let me know. So he goes and rings the tyre people, and he says, no, they've got none in stock in the country. Because you got a bike that has weird parts. Don't criticise my bike, dude. I actually bought it from you. So, and I used to go there to have it serviced. Now I don't. I go to a friend who, it's his life mission to service BMW bikes, and he does the most amazing job. He's so OCD about them that you know that everything is perfect. And you know those people that you may pay that wee bit extra, but you know that it's going to be fine. And he'll say, look, no, I wasn't quite, that tuning wasn't right, so I just moved it, half a millimetre to fix up the tuning because I just wasn't happy with the sound of it. That sort of person. But he's like 20 k's out of town. I knew I wasn't going to get down there. So this guy basically left me. He'd been out, looked at the valve, taken the tape off. He'd really upset me by this stage, and I thought, okay. So I rang Memel, who's in a meeting, and I said, oh, I'm really, really sorry to bother you. This is what's happened. And he goes, look, hey, you need to get it to Wayne Leonard, who's one of the big motorbike, probably the biggest motorbike seller in town, who's got the Harley dealership and Suzuki's and Triumphs and all those things. And I said, oh, that's a few k's down the road. I don't know if I'm going to get there. And he says, look, just take it slowly. You'll be fine. I said, okay. So I tried to put another canister of gas in, but he'd moved all the tape and taken most of it off, and I couldn't get it to sticky tape down, and it just came out again. I'm going, okay. Then I thought, BMW dealership is 1 block away. Wayne Leonard probably would have been 8 blocks away. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do? And I thought, look, I'll get on the bike, I will go up, and I'll try and get down to Wayne Leonard, so I'll go slowly. I got on the bike, I turned right to get onto the right lane. It was a side road to get into the right side of the street. Almost dropped the bike because there was just nothing there, and I thought, no, I'm going to BMW. So I went up there, going along the road, putting along, and I thought, oh, I could have scooters overtaking me, and how embarrassing would that be? But still, got up there and went in there. I was hot, I was sweaty, I was dishevelled and everything. And you're walking into a BMW dealership where they've got, the men are all in suits, looking like they've just stepped out of, Italian Vogue magazines, and the cars are all there, and the bikes are there, and here's my bike that's 10 years old, and I walk in there and he goes, oh, here, let me get you a glass of water, have a seat, what's happened? And I explained it to him. He goes, look, we don't do tyres here, we submit down to Wayne Leonard. I said, look, I thought that was the case, I just didn't want to ruin my rim. And he goes, look, what we can arrange is if you leave the bike here, we'll take the tyre off and we can send it down there and get it fixed. And I said, look, that would be absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. So, long story long, then I said, look, I'm only a k and a half from home, I'll walk. And she says, no, you're not going to walk, I'm going to drive you. So I got a lift in a beautiful car, which, leather seats, and it was just lovely. I did offer for them. I said, look, I'll do you a direct trade on the bike and I'll take the new 1200 GS and you can keep mine. And they said, no, they couldn't do that unless I handed over lots of money. Anyway, they were just lovely. They rang me back an hour or so later and said, look, just checking if the tyre's okay. Do you want to save the tyre and just have a new valve put on, or do you want a new tyre? And I said, look, if I don't need a new tyre, I don't want a new tyre. Then they rang me on Friday and said, hey, it's all done, just letting you know, and it's come to a grand total of $86. I'm thinking, So the Dodgy brothers wanted to charge me $350 for a tyre that wouldn't suit my bike when all that was needed was a valve fix. thanks. So I vowed never to go back to Yamaha in Cairns. And yeah, and you know, it's that sort of service I think you get from BMW where, I mean, I walked in, I was wearing jeans and I had my jacket, and I do have a BMW jacket, I do have a BMW helmet, but they're both not the latest models. And just the service I got from them, it makes you want to go back there. They didn't care that I'm poor and impoverished and everything, which is just lovely. So that was that. So that's all fixed. Picked it up yesterday morning with Mimel. Really good, riding well. We looked at the tyre and both of us said, still got tread on it. Anyway, some people just want to make a buck. I went to spinning again on Friday. I won't put any photos in, but let's just say we used Border Leicester this time, which I'm pretty sure is related to a blue-faced Leicester. It's an Australian sheep, Border Leicesters usually, and it was much easier. So I don't know what we were trying to use last week, but this time it was a lot easier. I was getting a lot more consistent. I was getting quite thin at times. And it was coloured. Well, the lady who's been teaching me buys fleeces, washes them herself, and then dyes them, cards them, dyes them, one way or the other. So yeah, so they're like mini bats. She doesn't card them together, so it's just been one colour after the other. And I've tried to put bits in there, and I did some barber polling by trying to have two colours together and try to draft them at the same time. And she gave me this thing how she doesn't really like barber polling, but she's seen it done quite effectively. So, and they've all been very encouraging, which is just lovely. She offered for me to take a wheel home. I said I wouldn't do it this week because I had so much on. I'd probably wait until we got back from our trip. And then the club president said, "Oh, did she offer for you to take a wheel?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "Oh, considering you've paid your membership, it hasn't been ratified at a meeting. That's very good. She's got a lot of confidence in you." So that's really sweet. There are photos up on Instagram if you'd like to go and have a look. Last night, Mimel took Jasper and I to see Star Trek Into Darkness, which was a lot of fun. I do love Star Trek, don't get me wrong. I thought Spock was just amazing. And you just, what is it with these geeky, non-emotional people, the Sheldons and Spocks of this world, that we all just really like. It was good. It was fun. I wouldn't say it was going to be my favourite movie of the year, but it's well worth seeing, and definitely a 3D movie. It was one of those movies where you see it in 3D and you go, that's why I'm seeing this in 3D. So that was really, really good. The other thing I suppose I've done this week, which was back earlier in the week, I've got a dog down here licking my toes. I don't know why. Sorry. Hey, Ninja. The other thing I have done this week is taken photos of all my stash and uploaded it, and I'm doing a bit of a de-stash. So if you want to have a look, have a look. I think I put up on Plurk that for Australian people, if you spend over $50, I'll pay the postage. Internationals over $70, I'll pay your postage. There's still a bit there. I've sold a bit already, which is lovely. So that is that. Administradium. Thank you to the winners from last week. I didn't actually get to the post office to post those parcels. I am planning on doing that early this week. So, yay, thank you for getting in touch. Knitting. I thought this was going to be a short episode, and I've just babbled for almost 20 minutes about my bike. Anyway, and I'm sorry, I've got wet hair. You probably can tell, I've just washed it, and I'm just going to be bothered drying it. I thought I'll sit out here with a bit of a breeze, and it will be okay. So, finished objects. I finished my Hogwarts Express, which is for my mother-in-law in South Africa. Look, if I hold it like this, you can't really see the owls, although if I come in closer, you can. This is Cloud Lover. It was a club shipment called Dead Meadow. It is a fingering weight, I'm pretty sure it's 80-20, it might be 75-25, I can't quite recall at the moment. It was 400 yards, 100 grams, I think I had 107 grams in the hank. So I weighed that and did the calculations. I've ended up with this much left over, and that's about 12 grams. A lot of people have said in the pattern they had enough left over to do some rows at the end. I did have enough to do rows at the end. However, I knew that the owls weren't going to show up that well. I didn't want to camouflage them even more by having more rows at the end. I'm really happy with the beads I chose. They are the green beads. I showed last week the green beads and the brown beads and went with green beads. I think they look better than bobble eyes, which is what the lady in the craft store suggested. I don't know how she thinks I would then put seed beads on top of them to have pupils. I don't know if she thought I was going to stick them on or what. Anyway, hey, yeah, I haven't blocked this yet. I'm going to wet block it, but I'm not going to stretch it out. I'm not going to use wires. I'm not going to use pins. I just want to smooth it out a bit. The top here has a bit of a weird shape. It doesn't start with a garter tab, so I suspect that's possibly why, but still, I'll just lay it out. It's a nice size for just throwing around your shoulders. As you can see, I can have it there. I can just have it crossed over there. My mother-in-law can, with a shawl pin in there, and you can see the owls. I did have a bit of a snafu at the end. Which end? This end? One of the ends with my owls, but I really don't think it's going to be noticed because the owls are pretty camouflaged. This was my Team Shawl effort as well this month. Team Shawl on Twitter. There's a group of us who tweet our progress on our shawl knitting. I'm pretty sure this is shawl number 6 already for the year. And I was trying to work out last night my knitting projects for South Africa because this time in 2 weeks' time I'll be on a plane. We flight into Sydney on the Saturday afternoon. I think it's a 3-hour flight down to Sydney. Overnighted in Sydney. We're staying at a hotel just near the airport, and then fly out on Sunday morning. I think the plane leaves at 9, so we have to be at the airport at 7 or something. I'm so excited just to be seeing Mimmel's parents again, and his sister, and her partner, and their beautiful daughter, who I have not met yet. So either as Mimmels. So we're really looking forward to that. When we've Skyped and all these things, but it's just not going to be the same as getting over there and playing auntie, which will be lots of fun. It'll be really weird though, because I'll have Jasper's going to be here, and my brother's coming up for a week, then my mother's coming up for a week to look after him. Imogen's in Japan, so the 3 of us are going to be on different continents. It's weird to think about it. I did hear from Imogen this week, only briefly though. She's put up a video of the house she's living in, the homestay house, which is just lovely, and I've watched that so many times because it's lots of fun. If you'd like a link, let me know. On their Hogwarts, I managed 29 owls with my measurements. I decreased to get the 29 owls. I didn't put a centre stitch marker in. Really recommend the pattern though. It is really well written. When I first read through it, I went, oh, but it actually makes sense once you get there. And yeah, it's not a lot of counting, just a bit of weighing of yarn, and a really good effect. Really like it. Yes, it probably could have been done in something a little less variegated, but I really love this yarn on it as well. Reminds me of meadows, or the dead meadows, but it reminds me of owls in meadows, so that's good. Work's in progress. I'll just show you this briefly. This is my graffiti on the Metro mitts. I have completed one. I haven't completed the thumb, so waiting for the thumb. But here is one that's been done. Sorry, I should just. And this is my second one. I've done a few stripes. This is my purse knitting. I think after I had one of my meetings on Wednesday, I had 20 minutes to kill, so I did a couple of stripes on this. So yeah, so it sits in my purse. I will get them done before we go away, which is the aim. I thought, oh, I'm up to doing my next thumb gusset. Then I thought, no, I've still got another set of rows to go. This is the amazingly awesome Highland Handmaids striped yarn. This was dyed up as part of the Princess Bride stripes. It is in the Villainous colourway, which represents the bad guys, which I kind of like. It's not showing up as true there. Well, possibly it is, but it's really gorgeous. The grey and the deep red and the gold and the purple. beautiful together. Really, really like it. So again, hopefully I'll get through this. This is being knit on a 3.25mm needle, which is a US 3. I'm using my signatures, which I got to do my even star, which I'm casting on the 1st of July, I hope, with a whole lot of other people. There's a bit of a mini knit along, so if you wanted to do an even star, let us know and you can join in the fun. It's one of those things, it's not going to happen overnight. I'm not going to rush to do it. It's a 6 to 12 month project for me. So yeah, so that's these. Beautiful yarn to knit with as well. Really, really lovely. My other work in progress is my vodka lemonade. Now, last week when I showed you, I'd done an inch or so of the seed stitch. The seed stitch collar of doom. It took forever. It really felt like it took forever. I finally got through the collar yesterday, and as you can see, I have started the raglan increases. I've got my stitch markers everywhere. So I've started the raglans. I've done 4 or 5. I've done an inch. I've got 9 or 10 more inches to go of raglan increases, but that's moving along a lot quicker than the seed stitch collar of doom was. Oh my. At least it's done, and I'm really happy with how it looks. I did the full 5 inches that the pattern called for. I didn't do a boy's 5 inches. I did a full 5 inches measured. So, whoops, it's me dropping it. I'm hoping the raglans are going to, that way, sorry. I'm hoping the raglans are now going to go along a bit quicker, and I will get a real move along on this, because I would like to have it finished. Just dropped a stitch back here by the time we get to South Africa, just so I can wear it there, because it's going to be cold. I am using Bendigo woolen mills. I'm using the 8-ply rustic base, which is not a superwash wool. I will be hand washing most of my woolens anyway, and I wouldn't throw a sweater in the machine, so I don't mind that. It is in the Elm colourway, which is a beautiful green. That's fairly true to colour on there. Really enjoying knitting with this. It's the same yarn I used for my Lighthouse Keeper's Wife. However, this is the 8-ply instead of the 12-ply that I used for that. So really liking it. It's knitting up very nicely. I am using 3.75mm needles. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I saw my gauge there and I thought I can tell you what they are. US 5s. On this, which is what it called for. I swatched for certain values of swatching, and I am getting stitch gauge. Row gauge is a bit off, so that'll be interesting to see where I go with that. It might come out in my favour though, I'm hoping. So yep, so I've got a lot of work to do on this week. This is going to be my main effort. Yeah. I have no acquisitions this week, which is quite good in some ways. So I've got someone's messaging me on Facebook. I'm just ignoring it. This week I have a bit more work to do with my friend for her business. Also got to finish my business planning and work out if it's going to be feasible or not, and work out what else to do. I have, before I go, I want to try and finish the vodka lemonade, and I've got 2 squares to knit for a secret project for a blanket. They've only got to go within the country, so I just want to get them away before I go, because I think they're due sometime whilst I'm away. I've narrowed down my knitting choices for while I'm away. I'm thinking that I'll probably knit a hitchhiker, take a pair of socks and a Vera Valmarki shawl, either a Colour Affection or a Happy Street, and then finally the Wool Miser lace yarn. I was going to wind that up for my Viajante. Now I know I'm not going to get all that finished in the time I'm away, but I don't want to leave myself with nothing to knit on. I have looked up in Johannesburg. There are a couple of local yarn stores, but one of the memos says it's probably not an area with, oh, it's a tiny little yellow bird that's just flown in and it's just sitting over there. Yeah, little birdie. Oh, there it goes. Okay, sorry, there are a couple of local yarn stores in Johannesburg. They don't have a big online presence. I've tried to have a look at them. I have a number of local indie dyers in South Africa I know of that I thought I might try and contact and see if I can have some stuff sent to Mimmel's folks' place instead of sending it over here. I've ordered from one of them before and it's really, really lovely. So apart from that, yeah, it's just the countdown's on for that, trying to get the house ready for my mother and brother coming to stay whilst I'm not here, and getting things organised. I think that's about it this week. I'm not going to put photos at the end. Thank you to the lovely comments for the photos I put in last week and the music. I'm glad some people really enjoyed it. I think that's it. And I've said that now, I think 4 times. So this is it. And I will say cheers. Uru.